It's Friday, niggas. On tonight's episode of the Madness Collective, we're gonna discuss Kelly Rowland at Con. Fani and the judge got reelected. We gonna talk a little bit about Puffy's friend snitching on him when it don't fucking count or matter. Porsha Williams drama. Apparently, she really does have a Rolls Royce. Joe Budden's commentary on the Puffy situation is being read for filth by some of his exes. Drake has returned on a mixtape track with Sexxy Redd, and he's kind of trolling himself. We'll talk about that. The trailer for the 4th installment of the Beverly Hills Cop franchise has been released. We're going to talk about Supreme Court Justice Alito being caught with a second fucking flag on his property. It's out of control. Busta Rhymes, has he been cloned? Are we dealing with another Gucci Mane situation? And another teen has been shot at for pulling into the wrong driveway. This happened in Tennessee. Terrible. Again, all that and more on tonight's episode of the Madness Collective. I am joined by Sarah and Jason again.
Hello.
Prepare for the fuckery.
What up, Melissa?
Hands and puffy pants.
So we didn't get to talk about this when it first happened, but Kelly Rowland was at the Con. It was the Con Film Festival. It was something different.
It was CAD.
Yeah, so we saw footage of her getting into an altercation with security, but we couldn't really understand what was happening. And so she got interviewed about it. And she really didn't tell us shit, but we go watch the we go watch the interview. Let me make sure my audio is right. Every time I fucking play something, the goddamn audio is wrong. Let me check here.
Let me get on this other channel and say hi to people.
Okay. Yeah,
here we go. Everybody hit like on the video, or
yes,
okay. If you can.
Here is Kelly.
And I have a boundary, and I stand by those boundaries, and that is it. And there were other women that attended that carpet who did not quite look like me, and they didn't get there scolded or pushed off or told to get off. And I stood my ground, and she felt like she had to stand hers, but I stood my ground. And that's it. The woman knows what happened. I know what happened. And
okay. Yeah, Kelly, you and the woman still the only niggas that know what happened because you didn't tell us shit. She ain't tell us nothing. I need more details, Kelly. Come on now. What y'all think happened?
It seemed a little bit like homegirl was rushing her and then stepped on her train once or twice trying to rush her. But like, even the fact that she had her hand on her, because I know Mekhi Phifer was making a joke. Then he was like, I don't like when people give me the small of the back treatment. That's like the bum's rush. Like, how you got your hand on the small of my back? My man, like, where fucking you moving me? You know what I mean? And that lady kept doing that to her. She's like,
it was stern. She would not move it. Like, her arm was like, it was like magnets. Every time it was,
Yeah, she was really like being like overly militant about it it didn't seem any apparent reason. I just missed the film festival. They like brought us there right before it. We're like, this is ghetto. right before the film festival is gonna start. They're like, this is where the people will be when they come in a few days. I was like, fuck you. But yeah, I mean, I agree. The comments here, it didn't look like there was anybody behind her. Like, it didn't look like there was a security threat. Like, it just seemed like the person was being really extra and over the top for no reason. Like, I don't know what if they don't understand she's part of the people that are celebrities. Like, it was confusing. It just seemed like she was unnecessarily rushing her, and then it just looked like it turned into like a dominance thing.
Yes.
Of like, I have to like assert my dominance and show my power by not letting this shit go when it's completely unnecessary, it would seem.
Yeah, I didn't like it. And I mean, because it was like, like you could tell it was an incident first, then it kept going, and that finger came out. It was that I want to speak to the manager finger. It's so funny though. This is still about Kelly. This is terrible, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it. When I saw her, I said, she fucking bleaching? What is going on? When y'all wear the blonde hair, it completely makes y'all skin look lighter.
Washes people out.
It's such a weird effect and I guess it really stands out because as far as I know, she ain't never wore blonde hair. This is the first time I've ever seen it. I know Kelly is not bleaching her skin. She looked light skinned with the blonde hair.
I feel really light skinned right now next to you. Your lighting is better. I look like Casper over here. I'm darker in person right now too. I have a tan. I'm looking real Caspery in my bad lighting, but Antoine's over here just glowing between me and Jason. It's like, damn.
I'm gonna have to see here. I might be able to.
You got the glow effect on.
Let me see something here. Hold on. Let me see if I can do something here. Oh, look. See, I gave you some saturation. I gave you some color. I gave you some color there. Let me see if I can do. I'm gonna do it to Jason.
Hold on, nigga. Hold on. You handing out suntans, nigga? Fucking hook me up.
Hold on. So that's for her. Let's see. Let me give you some here. Let me get it. Oh shit! Look.
Look that shit up.
Like Trump though. I mean, you can leave it, but
no.
You said no. Sarah said no.
You don't look like Trump. You don't look like Trump.
Oh, she said okay. For the day, I'm gonna leave y'all with a little bit of color. But go ahead.
It looks a little more healthy. Look like I got blood in my face instead of prison color.
You put the little French fry light on us. You know, a little French fry light.
You know, right? That good old fashioned. Bask me in the French fry light. No, I don't know what happened.
That's a throwback to my dad.
I don't know
French fry light.
And I don't know if we imagine it. I hate to say that we do because I find myself often feeling like that. Like there were definitely other people there. Whatever, it's a big event. People do seem to feel to have more of a tendency to lean towards Black folks, and then to a greater extent, Black women when they feel like they want to police somebody.
Yeah.
And I think when I talk about racism and people are like, oh, we want to make America great again, and we're not going to talk about politics, but what I'm saying is like they remember a time where you didn't have to be in politics to be openly racist. You could just be and I've said it on the show before, you could just be a bus driver and be like, nigger, get in the back.
Yeah.
Or you could just work at a counter and be like, no, you don't get a donut, nigger, go in the other door. They want it where all of them get to do that.
Yeah.
And no matter where you are in the world, since anti-Blackness is the biggest religion in the world, I guess everybody wants their chance to do it. She's like, I'm a security guard. Tonight I'm making $25 an hour instead of $14. I'm about to push this Black woman off. And I know it may not be that, but people should be sensitive to the fact that we have good reason to feel like that. So if I tell you don't touch me and I'm not in a hurry, go rush somebody else from behind me, then do that. Leave me the fuck alone. So I do understand. No matter what happened, I'm with her standing the ground if that's what she's doing.
I'm listening to Jason, and literally just a couple nights ago in my Facebook memories, I'm old, I'm on Facebook, from 2 years ago, was the obsession with humbling Black women is very odd. For perfectly applicable to the situation. Like there's no reason for you to be going out of your way right now to humble Kelly Rowland, give her fucking moment. Like she's somebody who has traditionally been a musician. You know, she's only done so many acting roles. Here she is with like a role, and she's at the, this famous film festival, one of the most famous ones in the world. Let her have her fucking moment.
Yeah.
Let her have her flowers. Stop trying to rush her. Stop trying to show some weird kind of dominance, And it's weird for me too, after having just been there, because like, I'm not gonna lie, the Black people I was with were not overly thrilled with the French people,
Well, that's what I've been seeing online. Like it's been Black women saying, I know exactly what Kelly going through, and I'm like, oh, I didn't know that was a thing. They're like, yeah, it's not unusual. That's unfortunate.
It's not unusual in France or Italy. In France and in Italy, they have a tendency to be a little bit more out front about their, you know what I mean?
That's terrible.
It's cute.
It's terrible.
It's a cute thing. You know, it's the equivalent of like, oh, you are trying to fuck with our president. How dare you have a side nigga? It's like, dude, your president's in another court right now for fucking porn stars. What do you mean I can't have a side nigga? Fuck off. I'm just like, we are supposed to be held to this above and beyond any standard they would ever hold themselves on any level.
Yeah.
From black on black crime, I'm like, nigga, let's make a list of serial killers. We're black on black crime. Nigga, it's how 3,000 white women killed by white men over the past 30 years for nothing. Just because they want to see what she looked like without arms. Nigga, don't worry about us trying to rob a Target. Nigga, niggas trying to eat. Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
On that note, to lighten things up after our bitches with no arms segment, let's get into some of these comments.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
It's all right. What's up, Column? Let's see. Okay, yeah, Column. I'm trying to hold down the fort. Let's see here. Who else is in here? Rez is here. What's up? What's up, sis?
Hey, Reza. What's up?
Oh, it's Reza. I'm saying Reza. You know, I'm thinking
Reza, like a razor.
I was watching reality TV with my mom, and I think I was I was thinking of the guy from Shahs of Sunset.
Exactly, because it's like a Persian name, mainly men, Reza.
Yeah.
But the doctor she was named after was Reza, and she's Reza.
Okay, gotcha.
They basically ruined us.
Okay, we gonna move on to the next one.
And hi, Tony.
Let's see here. So the judge from the case in Georgia with Fani Willis, that judge and Fani, they got reelected, and that's a big deal because had they not been reelected, everything would have been delayed even further than it has been delayed thus far. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. But
it would have been delayed if it moved forward.
Right. Where now? Okay, Sarah, you'll be our resource for this. What the fuck is going on with the Georgia case at this point?
I don't even know anymore. I mean, it seems like I think that they're still trying to fight the whole thing that happened, even though the judge like threw the dude off the case. So like that Wade guy, all the stuff that really had nothing to do with the case, all the inappropriate relationship shit, they threw off the special prosecutor. So he's not there anymore. That's not a thing anymore. But I think that, you know, of course their side still wants to try to, you know, take that all the way to the bank, and it's like, move on. But I don't even know anymore what the dates are. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, and Tony's right. They only won the primaries. Like, they, you know, still have.
They still got to go back again in November, right?
Yeah.
So they got the
primaries
though.
Yeah. So I mean, that's definitely good that they like got through that step. You know, we need to, you know, donate to these campaigns and everything. If they, you know, are still going to have a fight. But you know, it's complicated because, you know, certain people put them in there, and it's like, you know, some people, what are you saying? They appealed the judge allowing Fani to reign on the case. Yeah, like some people I think really want it to go forward. Like they don't like some people actually have a little bit of integrity, even if they don't agree with you on everything.
Yeah.
And they don't really, you know, they might be for a lot of BS, but they don't really like tampering with elections.
Right.
And, you know, I think some people, regardless of what things you disagree with them on, that might have been like a step too far for them. Otherwise, why would they even have, you know, really won their re-elections? There's certain people down there that are more progressive now, and that, you know, tides have changed a little bit, but there's still a lot of people who aren't. So, you know, I think they're still in the fight. And I think, you know, all these trials since the beginning, they're going to do everything they can to delay.
Yeah.
Whether the trial, like the Trump lawyers' goals are to delay and get to the election and have as little trials as possible before the election. And they think, you know, if he wins, then they can just shut down all the stuff because now he's president, right? Yeah. So then he'll just take some kind of crazy dictatorial thing and say, you can't prosecute me, I'm the president. So this whole thing has just been like so much mindfuckery, because first it was you can't prosecute him for stuff because he's president. Then it was you can't prosecute him for stuff because he's running for president. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like they change, they move the goalposts every single time.
Well, y'all see Crescent leave for a minute, and I'm putting misinformation out into the fucking ether. I'm saying that they won. They didn't get reelected. They won their primaries. Thanks, Tony and Sarah, for clearing it up.
It's funny because I thought you had that in the in what you said.
I did. I made a lot of mistakes in the show flow. I had DA and Fani get reelected, and it was Fani is the DA. It's been a long week. It's been a long fucking week.
I think you're doing great.
Thank you.
Funny banners.
So I guess the big thing is, like I think Sarah, you touched upon it. The Georgia Court of Appeals is expected to take several months to rule on the president's request to remove Willis. So. This is just fucked up. It's fucked up.
Yeah,
we had all that momentum, and now it's just, because,
why are the Democrats it's always their downfall is sex? Sorry, but it's like.
Yeah.
Well, that we play too nice?
Well, they lose momentum. We be having their energy be up. You know what I'm gonna compare it to? I don't want the Beehive to come for me because I don't mean no shade here, but Beyonce is fucking up the whole concept of release schedules and album eras and cycles, because Cowboy Carter came out. I mean, like, what is happening? Are we getting new visuals? Are we getting videos? Are we getting singles dropping? Are we waiting for her to announce a tour? It's like do y'all can feel me on this? It's like it came and went. It's like it's gone now. It's gone.
It was all the zeitgeist for about 2.5 weeks and then just disappeared.
But the same thing happened when Renaissance came out. She released Break My Soul. Then she didn't have a video for it. Then she did a video for I'm That Girl, and it implied that a larger long-form film was coming out. It never came out. And then nothing. There were no further singles released. And it felt like the album had died out and it was done. Then she announced the tour, and it just it got a second chance at life. So we'll see what happens with this one. But yeah, these album rollouts are really weird. Usually it doesn't work this way.
I think also now that we're in fully independent land and people get to do whatever they want.
Yeah.
It starts to show the value of the rollout schedules that we used to work with that I always thought were stupid. It was like, why you made an album? Why is it not out for 4.5 months? It's like, because we got to do this and it turns out that they're right, I guess, maybe, because it's a way of keeping things moving at a pace or like kind of setting. I don't know if this helps you, Antoine, or if you care, or if you listen to, this might not be on your list of accepted reading, but if you fuck with the Washington Post, they have a separate show altogether that's called the Trump Trials. And all they do is give you of what's going on with all the trials up to the minute in easily digestible information, like in layman's terms. And that's all it does. It's called the Trump Trials, and it's on Washington Post, but it's on Spotify or wherever.
The podcast?
Yeah. It's a podcast just called the Trump Trials. They don't talk about anything else.
They've been recommending that to me. I've been hearing the commercial for it. So I need to start listening to that, because that'll just keep me on the cutting edge when it comes to that information. Because it is. Because I don't want to have to, crawl through all the gajillion articles.
An hour and a half, Rachel Maddow.
Yeah, I ain't got time for it. Ain't nobody got time for that.
I think she's brilliant at what she does, but I've been trying and I've been trying to not watch anything that leans way too hard on either side, because I don't want false optimism and I don't want to get depressed and discouraged. So I try to look at that little chart they give you, like what's close to the middle, and stick to my little NPRs and
that's all I get my news. All my news comes from NPR. I found this app. I think it's called Grounded. And what they do is they present all the political articles, but they have a grading system where it's a bar and they determine, they look at the facts and then they have this bar that lets you know which side the writer is leaning towards. It's really interesting. They do it for every single article. Yeah, if y'all get a chance, check that out. I haven't really.
I'm adding it now.
Yeah,
because I have a thing. Are you an Android? Is anybody an Android user?
I only use Android.
So I use a browser called Opera, and they tell you not to use it because it's not very secure, blah 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 blah. And I only use it because it lets me download shit. But when you look at how so many of these people try to sneak their right-leaning shit into, like, if you could so easily get caught up, and I figure that's how they're catching a lot of these of colored Trump voters and shit, is like you could get caught up just kind of reading the weird angle on a story on the immigration when the angle's always there and they're not being blatant about it.
Yeah,
it's easy to hide that shit.
It is. I saw this YouTube short. It was this guy that kept popping up in my feed for YouTube shorts. And then one day, one of his videos popped up, and I was like, I saw the mountains in the background. I saw some cowboy boots, but I gave you the benefit of the doubt. And sure enough, his true colors came out. And I was like, yeah, my energy was telling me that something was off with your ass. And I knew it. It was like, he's one of these red pill dudes. Be careful out there, people. At any rate, yeah, be real careful. So the next story is about Porsha Williams. So let's see here. So Porsha's soon-to-be ex-husband, because I'm pretty sure that divorce is not finalized.
I don't think so.
He was trolling Porsha, and he's been trolling her the whole time, by the way, in case you haven't been following. Whole time. But he did a post. He made a post responding to a post made by Porsha's friend Shamia Morton, who, shout out to Shamia, she's getting a peach this season for the first time. She's been a friend of the show. And to be clear, they have asked her to be a peach holder, but her husband really wasn't feeling it because they're pretty wealthy. And Shamia is actually married to a wealthy African, and yeah, for real. And to prove it, that nigga just gifted her a Rolls Royce for her birthday, I believe it was. And so when Simon saw that, he did a post essentially saying, shout out to Shamia for being the only housewife that actually owns a Rolls Royce. And so right after that, Kenya did a post saying, yeah, she's basically saying, I got one too. What are you talking about? Now, there was a rumor a little while ago that Simon took back the Rolls Royce that he allegedly gave to Porsha. And so I'm going to show you Porsha's response. Let me find it here. Okay. Porsha.
Shit. Pretty bitch shit. I'm doing rich shit. Rich shit. Poke it out. Ass fat, showing out. Going out. Lick a shit. Y'all like that go naked hair? Bigger bets.
Oh my goodness. Petty. So if you couldn't tell, that was Porsha in her imaginary Rolls Royce, apparently. She has
add you laughing to that.
She has a hairline. She said, y'all see the go naked hair. So she was, doing a little bit of the self-promotion, which is, as you do. So yeah, this shit keeps getting messy. But the other part of the story is that Simon, the latest part, Simon says.
You're saying all kinds of funny things right now. You don't even realize it.
Simon says that Porsha has displaced his 3 children because part of their prenup stated that if they were on the road to divorce, she got to stay in the house. So Simon right now is in Dubai. He's been there for a while. It's feeling like a Russell Simmons situation. But he did a post saying that he really appreciated all his baby mamas for stepping up because Porsha took the house and displaced his children. He said his children are displaced. So people came in the comments and they're like, nigga, you could have got your kids another house to live in. Why are you in Dubai? And he basically said, some of us don't work down the street. He basically said, bitch, I'm international. I'm in Dubai doing work. I'm not on vacation. And yeah, it's getting so messy.
It's not the flex he thinks it is.
It's not.
I'm in Dubai. I can't take care of my kids. Like, it's not the flex you think it is. The whole thing is over the top because if the moms have homes, how are you running around talking about the kids are homeless? Okay.
Yeah.
So all the moms are putting the kids out on the street. Like, you didn't have full custody and their moms have homes. So they're not homeless.
Yeah.
And you're not in the country. So sharing custody with you while you're in Dubai also is like, they can just stay at their mom's houses since you're not even here.
It was confusing. It was confusing because it seemed like he was trying to imply that he normally has full custody, but I wasn't clear on that. I wasn't clear on what he was saying. It's all confusing.
It didn't seem like that was actually the case.
It's a weird power dynamic because if she could take the house, nigga, it wasn't yours. So I don't know why you're mad. Like, there's not a way she just took your house on a divorce, and no matter what, like, it had to have been enough of her house for that to happen.
Well, here's what happened. So the people in the comments were getting in his ass. Because the one thing I will say, Simon will answer all questions. He leaves no stone unturned. So one of the people in the comments, they were like, if she in the house, you agreed to this shit, and it's her house now, you should have never agreed to the prenup. And he basically said, because another person implied, they said, y'all both, because remember Porsha had a bomb-ass house. And then Simon had several homes. They basically, some of the commenters were saying, both of y'all sold y'all homes when y'all got married, and then y'all bought this house together. And Simon basically said, no, I sold my 2 homes and put the down payment on the new house. And he basically was saying, you think this bitch deserve a whole house when we was married for 362 days?
Yeah. Or it was more than 362, but yeah, it was like 453. It was like a little bit over a year.
A little bit over a year. But in the middle of all this, when Porsha did a post basically saying, I'm happy being single and I don't want nobody. Like, I'm living my life. And Dennis hopped in the comments and said, come home, baby. Like, some shit like that. And everybody is all titillated because we all want Dennis and Porsha to get back together.
Yeah, she was all, I'm happy and healed and I don't need nobody. And he's like, come home, baby.
I hope they get back together. I loved Dennis on that fucking show.
I feel like it's like, it was weird how her and Dennis even broke up. It was like she just got like mesmerized by the Simon shit. Yeah. And just ran off with this guy who's like, I don't know. People who do like move like that, it's like you should already be worried going in. Like, yeah, you know, like look what he did to Fallon. So then, like, of course, he's gonna do the same shit to you. Yeah. And you know, I know Dennis doesn't have like a perfect past, but he seemed like he was like really trying for her. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
No one knows their business besides them, like really. But Simon just seemed like really shady. Like he just keeps doing shady shit and. I feel like his claims are so over the top, they're not even believable. Like what Tony said, you know, you're not even there. They're either going to be with their mothers. Like, why? And like his kids aren't that young, a lot of them either. Like, I'm not saying they're all adults, but like these aren't like 4-year-olds. You know what I mean? Like, no. It's just like, no, why would they be over at Porsha's? Like, just like you're like, why would she have this stuff? We've only been married for this long. Why would she be single mothering your children when you get, you know what I mean?
Yeah, she just, unfortunately, oh damn, the comments be covering part of our names. I gotta fix that. I'm just gonna go ahead and say this. You know, Porsha gotta stop dating. Porsha clearly dated Dennis because she liked Dennis. I think Simon's money blinded Porsha's the part of her brain that is discerning and that sees the portion of her brain that sees red flags gets turned off when a bunch of money enters the chat. And I just believe that's what happened.
Me too. Me too.
It happens for a lot of us, I think. Yeah, but I wish her the best of luck. She deserves to be happy. She just gotta be more discerning when she's deciding on who she's gonna date. So let's see here. The next one, okay, so the Joe Bud one, trigger alert.
Wait, next thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Joe Budden has given commentary on the video of Puffy assaulting Cassie in the hotel.
Yeah.
And basically he said it was discussed. He said what everybody else is saying. And hit one of his exes, Tahiry, who he proposed to on Love and Hip Hop. She rejected him. Tahiry came out and basically said that she was triggered by his response because while she was dating him, she claims he pushed her down the stairs and dragged her somewhere. And he then comes afterwards. He comes up after that comment. He called her a liar. He said she was a gold digger, but he didn't deny that he did what she accused him of. So, sometimes it's the wrong messenger, and I'm not saying she wasn't assaulted, but it was one of the reality shows, the one where Marriage Boot Camp, I think it was like a marriage boot camp type show. She was on there with her boyfriend at the time, and this is a guy she dated long after her and Joe were no longer together. And I saw the footage. There's footage of her and that guy. He's sitting there, and they're mad at each other. She gets up, and she throws these two big ass. Think of how big that fucking apple is. And is this Sleeping Beauty or is this Snow White? Which one's the evil stepmama? She give her the fucking apple and she go to sleep forever. I don't remember which one it is. But that was a big ass, it's a big ass apple, right? She is mad at this nigga and she throws two gigantic green apples. I think one of them hit him in the head. And this is straight up street nigga. So later on, I think a few episodes later, she starts mouthing off to him and I think maybe she raised her hand or something and he was triggered. Next thing you know, he was choking her. And he was like, I thought you were about to assault me again like you did before. So I only bring this up because when you are a person who also assaults other people, it's the exact same thing.
Sounds like everybody needs to shut the fuck up.
Yeah. So basically, people aren't hearing her in the same way that they may hear another victim, but just because the other ones ain't really speaking don't mean it didn't happen. Joe has several exes that have accused him of assaulting them. So there's one, and you know what, I'm not going to play. I was going to play a clip of the video. I'm just going to tell you what happened. So he dated another woman named Esther Baxter.
Mm-hmm.
And Esther claims that she and Joe got in a disagreement. He pulled her out of the bed and she was pregnant and he sat on top of her stomach purposely.
Until she miscarried.
And she miscarried in the hospital. And he actually has a song where he basically admits to doing it.
Yeah.
And so at some point, the Breakfast Club had some sort of show. It was like a court type show. And they had him on and he was trying to explain himself. And he said, well, I ain't really sit. Well, I'm paraphrasing here. He said, well, I ain't really sitting on her stomach. I was sitting on her chest. So I say, but here's what I'll say.
He's like, I was sitting on her lungs where she couldn't breathe.
Yeah. If you, and to be clear here, there are several others. I'm just mentioning the two most salacious ones, but There are at least 2 other of his exes that claim that he's been abusive physically and emotionally. So what I have a question here to the 2 of you though. If you, because I want to say this is fascinating, but I think this is an interesting perspective. If you are a reformed, abusive person, is it okay for you to give commentary on somebody else's abusive situation? Because you have a unique perspective.
So it isn't.
No, to me,
it isn't.
Sarah, you go
not
first.
the way that he is. Not the way that he is, because that would mean that you're taking accountability for what you did, and you're speaking on it from a place of, this is what I did. This was so wrong. You know, you need to do better than me. Don't be like this, that kind of thing like that. But he's up on like a high horse, you know, criticizing other people and trying to gaslight and act like he himself isn't an abuser, and trying to talk about how disgusting shit is when he does the same shit himself. So no, yeah, it's insanely hypocritical, like Tony just said in the comments. And no, I don't. It's kind of like all those things, you know, if you live in a glass house, you know, don't throw rocks, whatever. If you live in a glass house, like, he had no business speaking on it and acting all like high and mighty when he himself has a long history, clearly, of abusing women. I don't think they're all lying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think people are, these are like, this isn't like, oh, he hit me. This is, he sat on my stomach until I miscarried. That's not like, you know, that's a little too specific. That's a little too unique kind of thing. That's not just like, he got upset one night and I should have stopped talking. No. So he should have, you know, shut the fuck up is what he should have done. Take a big warm glass of shut the fuck up is what he should have had.
What you think, Jason?
Confession time. So I used to be young at one point, and a weirdo of sorts, and had several different kind of levels and layers and edges of fuckboy to me as an individual.
Okay.
And there have been instances in my past where I put my hands on someone that I absolutely should not have, and I'm aware and ashamed of it within myself. I feel like to get in it and say something is one thing. To get in it on a I don't think the word is ignominious. I don't know the word, but on the high horse, and to talk about, I feel like you're obligated. It's like being a sober person and you join AA, and now this drunk motherfucker, blah, blah, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, it's so weird that you're not giving an empathy that you very specifically have access to, or should, especially if you really have evolved. So
yeah, you're not acknowledging
say what you want to. Say anything you want to about anybody, but let that come with a caveat that people know what you did. So nigga, say it if you want. If you might have a better chance of not catching side fire, collateral damage, if you just, again, drink that gluten-free shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Shit's cost you nothing to stay out of it, or to say, oh, hey, Puff, I'm not giving no excuses for this, brother, but I understand that people do turn into different people. I hope he gets a chance to do that. Like, you shouldn't be able to mention it without talking about your own thing. Today, somebody made the comment. It was like, well, if Cassie was so scared of him, why she cheat on him?
Oh my God.
To which my answer, and my answer really was, within the backdrop of my answer, had the fact that I was once that nigga.
Yeah.
Not once in life, but once or twice in specific situations. Like, I wasn't a guy that was my thing. My answer was like, my man, a woman cannot cheat on a bitch ass nigga that beats her and mistreats her. He forfeited. She ain't cheat. That nigga forfeited. And that's how I feel about me at that time and how things went with those relationships. You know what I mean? And it doesn't feel like, I don't think Joe has that. I think what Joe has, and like you said, I didn't know that you were, I guess everyone's aware, but I didn't know that you were going to get to the part. Like, he's been accused by just about every woman that I've publicly known of him to be with. Because I used to follow the nigga when he was just a rap nigga, you know what I mean? Before the shows. And I think you get these shows, or you get 20 years of being Puff Daddy, or you get something, this weird God complex comes in where you either forget who the fuck you really are, or you feel like nothing can happen, like you forget things can happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or somebody gonna say something. I'm very careful because I have shit in the age of Me Too, I'm like, nigga, I can't. One of these days, I'm gonna have to deal with that shit, and I'm not going to deal with it by pretending, lying for 3 months and then having it caught on video. I'm not gonna pretend. You know what I mean? Like, nigga,
Yeah.
speak up, grow into who
it's
you
the
are.
lack.
If you
It's the
really have
lack of
feelings, talk about it.
accountability.
Yeah.
It's a lack of
'cause-
accountability. It's like you literally in one breath are calling it out as disgusting and disdain and all this stuff, and then in the next breath you're talking trash about a chick that you dated and abused yourself. Like,
yeah.
it's like it's not the same as somebody who's like, I've been there, I went through that, I'm ashamed of myself, I'm ashamed of my past actions, I've done better since, I'm going to continue. That's like two completely different things than being like, oh, I can't believe this piece of trash is abusing women, and then like you have like a wake of abused women behind you, and if they dare say anything, you go and belittle them publicly on top of it. I mean, that's worlds of difference.
Or I'll go so far as to say add more abuse by verbally abusing them, knowing damn well that you're lying. Like, you know, I think that's kind of what Puff did to her, was like, that was just more abuse for you to lie and call her a money. She's doing a money grab. That was more abuse, bro.
It's the same.
Because you can't reach her.
That's exactly what Joe did to Tahiry. He said you're a gold digger and a liar. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm just always baffled by the lack of just these celebrities that are incapable of reading the room, because Joe, it's my understanding that Joe didn't comment when Cassie brought the lawsuit up in November for this very reason. So I don't know who, I guess for some reason he felt validated in commenting because the video was proof that Puffy was abusive. But yeah, he could have just not said anything and he would have continued living his best life on his show and nobody probably would have really held him to task for anything. But yeah, so I think we all in agreement that if you go comment on it, you got to have some level of humility. Because I feel it, because what I was trying to get at earlier was when things like this happen and you hear the commentary, it tends to be a lot of the same thing. We're all outraged. Can't believe he did that to her. This is proof that she's been vindicated. But I think in order to help others, it would be amazing if a reformed, abusive man came forward and gave commentary and said, full disclosure, I've abused several women in my life and I've tried to make amends for it. I've asked for their forgiveness. I sought help. And I just want to let you guys know I've been there. I've done what this man has done. So this is what you guys need to look out for, because men like us, blah, 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 blah. I think that's helpful. But, just to get up there and hop on the bandwagon, knowing your past, and to just say, yeah, that shit is disgusting. It's like, nigga, what? Are you forgetting something?
Glass houses.
But there was a side story about this, a little having to do with Joe and with this situation. When Cassie first spoke and he didn't say nothing, people noticed because everybody else in his lane was talking about it.
Right.
And a lot of people like you and I know that there's a history there. So it could have been an opportunity for him to say something. He would have just either had to keep it small or bring all the caveats and stuff that you were just talking about. When the video came out, and this is what I read separate of this, they were doing the show and they had a segment about the video and about what was going on. Okay. They got cut from the show, presumably for me, that he still didn't want to talk about it, but they had fucked around and left the mention of it and all of that in the time thing that you're looking at. So people are like, you guys spoke on it for 7 minutes, but now it's gone. Why aren't you speaking? Then he's like, no, I didn't want to come out in the spur of the moment and not say it right and blah, blah, blah. It's kind of what he did. What he said about that, like, I didn't want to come out and just jump on it not knowing, I wanted to approach it correctly, and I didn't just want to come off my mouth just having heard the information. It was just breaking at the time, so I didn't want to blah, blah, blah.
Damn,
and I think that he made a misstep because when he tried to clean that up, he went hard, and it's easy even for me with what I told you guys tonight to be judgmental about that, because at the time I was not a grown man with 4 daughters and a wife. I was a different, stupid ass, young
Right.
nigga. And he can say that. That doesn't fix anything, bro. But you got to be honest about all of who you are. There's no 2 people that are, there is no man that is more different from any other man than that man would be different from himself at any other time.
Right.
So, you know what I mean? Like, I stand as far apart from this little 21-year-old nigga that did that thing as I stand from some Chinese kid that makes tennis shoes. I'm that different by the time and the life experience that's come between. Well, but I still have to own up to who I am, and what I did makes part of who I am. Good
right, because you recognize what you did and you did the work. I mean, and that that carries a lot of weight with people when you see somebody 10 years later and you know that they fucked up and you see the change. That means a lot to a person. Yeah, but for somebody to just act like none of the shit they did in the past is relevant to what they speaking on today. Yeah, it's actually cowardly. You know, it's actually coward, and your ego is allowing you to make stupid decisions because somebody is gonna read you for filth over it.
Yeah, like if you're homeboy, the Republican, what is she called, Lady Bumblebee or whatever you be calling her, Lady G. And you're all behind all of this like anti-eligibility community situation. You know, that's all your big thing.
Oh, it been uteruses. Knowing you ain't never seen one. Trying to legislate uteruses.
The last one you saw was when you was getting evicted. Up out of one, motherfucker. 70 years ago. Shut up. All right, anyway, I'm sorry, go ahead.
So I don't have a title card for this, but what's part of this conversation is the fact that a lot of guys that were in Puffy's periphery are coming out the woodwork to give commentary on it. And there's another conversation about that. Why are you niggas now talking after all the women have been victimized? Some of them are no longer breathing and with us. Why do y'all feel the need to give commentary now when you witness this monster doing what he was doing before? It's like it seems like you're speaking up for clout. It's weird. It's weird to me. It's weird to me.
There's one of the security guards specifically said that he was put in charge of going over to the hotel room where Cassie had been sent after a specific situation and checking on her every day because she had literally, I think she had a black eye, so they had to hide her. She couldn't even be at the house, so they put her in a hotel. He's like, yeah, it was me that like had to go over there and check every day. I'm like, yeah, but you went over there and checked every day. Then you came back to your boy and reported like a good little Negro, and you didn't help her. You didn't try to convince her never to come back. Like even the people that work at the hotel, when we were talking about why did they hold the footage, but they didn't let her go back up there. They're like, if you try to go back up there, we have to call the police. Like you need to just leave now that you can leave. And that wasn't enough, but that was more than what this nigga did. Now you're here. You know, I know that he had like a stylist that worked with him forever and ever and ever and ever, whose name will go unnamed. White cat from down south, real sweet dude. And they used to come in a lot to my day job when I was, when Puff was a client.
Okay.
He wasn't, I never met him, but his stylists were clients of mine. Like I never, and this guy used to talk about it all the time and brought Cassie's dad in for me to dress for something that they were going to, that Puffy had invited her dad to join them at something.
Okay.
And the dad was there. He's like a Pacific Islander type looking dude or whatever. He's a really cool dude. Very proud that that's his daughter. Blah 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 blah. I know that he didn't seem at all to be the type of nigga that knew any of this was going on and was letting it crack. But money seems the same money that lets people leave their kids at Michael Jackson's house will let you do any number of things, I guess. Or like we said, money will put blinders on. But this guy used to talk quite a bit about how close he was, more specifically with Cassie. This stylist who worked for Puffy forever and ever would talk about how close he was with Cassie. Like that was his ace.
Okay.
She's living in the house in Beverly Hills, and he spent a lot of time with her that Puff didn't spend with her.
Yeah.
And around the time that we hear now the story, not this hotel story, but the one where she got hit in the face and had to be hidden for a minute.
Yeah.
This cat just quit his job. Did he speak up and fuck up everything? No. But he quit a job where he had been working for one of the biggest spenders in his industry as the only stylist for years. He's like, nah, nigga, I can't really do shit about it, but I'm not going to masses. We sick my way through this thing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
He's saying he's not gonna co-sign it because I guess, to be fair, we've been hearing a lot of shit about Puffy over the past couple of years that we maybe were not aware of, how he gets down in a lot more of a gangster fashion that a lot of us thought. So I think there's also a fear factor associated with, you know what I mean? So it's being a whistleblower, you know, some shit could happen.
I mean, if this guy really blew up Kid Cudi's car.
Exactly.
Like, if he really sent somebody to do that, if he actually did that, or if he had Shine, as we know, shoot somebody.
Yeah.
As far as we know, somebody shot somebody and he was there. We don't know.
They saying the motherfucker had Tupac killed. Like, they saying all kinds of shit.
And I'm thinking, you get up there, he ain't really a street guy and never was, but you get up there and you have access to the ability to move people around like that.
Yeah.
You have access to the ability to pay people to do shit and to pay them to be quiet.
Exactly what they said he did. Yeah.
Where you feel like you can do shit because the money does allow you to do a lot of shit. Tramp will tell you, Puffy will tell you, you know what I mean? Suge could have told you at one point. But one of the things is a lot of these cats, and I'm not making it an A-okie dokie, unfortunately, most right.
Yeah.
I'll read it.
Very true.
I'll read it out
No,
loud.
I read it.
You got it. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. And that's like 100%. I think and again, just feeling like the guilt of, like, there's been times where you've seen somebody where you know damn well that as the person you are, you wanted to speak up and you just in that moment and in that time couldn't or didn't or whatever it's going to be. You know what I mean? And it might not have even been somebody who was in charge of whether or not you eat that following paycheck. So it's hard. It's hard for me to throw too much judgment at these folks. But that doesn't change the fact that speaking up now is solely and wholly on some clout shit. So if you've been quiet, be quiet.
Stay quiet.
You ain't said shit when you should.
Yeah.
Then don't say shit today. Leave it alone. Then if you ain't gonna say shit, then maintain that same energy, as the youngins used to say.
Yeah, because, like, I think, when you talk about the fact that these same people were also silent in November when the lawsuit initially dropped. So you could have said something then, and you could have supported her then when it was just her versus him and just words. But it wasn't until the video came out that all of a sudden everybody wants to go, oh yeah, well, we done been known about that. And it's kind of like, all right, well, you know what? Why don't you be as quiet now as you were then? Because
we don't need your commentary now. We got the video.
Now there's a video of her getting her ass beat while he's in a towel. So we don't need you now because we can see him barefoot. We can see he's so angry that he ain't put fucking clothes on and wasn't gonna let her, like, controlling, wasn't gonna let her leave, and comes running out naked in a towel. And we know those hotel towels, those aren't even real towels, And he came out in that. So it's like, we don't need you now. She doesn't need you now.
Well,
it's it's already been released. You guys are like, oh, let's validate it. It's already validated by the video.
One thing that I think is unfair about their commentary, particularly the one with the Jason sent me a link. It was the one with the bodyguard. To speak on someone's situation so publicly without consulting them, to me, is unfair. You get what I'm saying? To sit there and say, yeah, this one time I saw him do A, B, C, and D to her. You weren't speaking on it before.
Yeah.
She filed a lawsuit. We saw the video. Don't speak on her situation. It's for her to speak on. And I just don't think that's fair, for her to continue. I'm sure it was triggering for her to even see that fucking video. She might not have even, she may have no idea that the fucking video even looked like that. I doubt she probably never saw it. She probably sitting there with her fine ass husband and her beautiful kids. And then she's on TV being abused. Like, I wonder if they gave her a heads up. Who knows? But Yeah, for these niggas to come out the woodwork just commenting on her situation and what happened to her, I think is just bad. It's bad.
She finally spoke up today or yesterday.
Yeah, she did.
She didn't get too specific. She didn't get too specific, but she said something that we talked about on Wednesday or Monday. It was like, I have the great pleasure, if that's what the fuck it is, of really knowing no matter what anybody thinks that I believed her the first fucking time. The minute she said it. You know what I mean? I have the ability to not have been one of them niggas like, I don't know, till I see that shit on tape. I'm like, how many times have we heard that about everything?
It was
from
so
police
clear.
brutality to whatever. Like, I don't have to see it on tape. What the fuck reason could she possibly have to lie about something like that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's already been paid. And if she'd be quiet, he'd keep paying her. He would pay her that amount of money every 5 years if she would never have said anything about it. So it ain't like she's lying about it. She don't have no reason to. And I just believe her. And you got a lot of these weird ass. We got what do they call it? Misogynoir, but we don't have like a specific word for black incels. But we got these niggas.
Bitch ass niggas.
I was fucked up. You know what
boys,
I'm saying?
I guess.
I was fucked up. I was in a bad place in life. You know, y'all don't get it, man. I was fucked up.
And even in that,
you know?
trying to sound. It feels almost staged to the point where you were trying to sound just sorry enough that people would know that you were not legitimately sorry. Like still trying to sound kind of street about it, like, yeah, like saying all of the most plastic words that we've heard in every, like basically trying to be like, let me make this arbitrary Acme brand public apology thing like the police do when they get caught out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like let me say everything.
I didn't realize that was my taser. I didn't know it was my gun. I thought it was my taser.
Oh.
You know what I mean? So I mean, like, it feels like even with like, yeah, I was so fucked up and trying to sound hard. Like, nigga, you're not hard. You kicked that woman in her back and her head while she was laying on you. You're not a hard nigga. Nigga, ain't nobody ever seen you in a fight. We've heard a lot of shit about what you do and have done this shit to people.
Yeah.
You know, we know that you went with your bodyguards and hit Steve Stout in the head with a bottle, but you had your bodyguards with you. Because it ain't like Steve Stout couldn't fold your fucking funky ass up. Nigga. Like, you know what I mean? It seems like he's still holding on to trying to be that guy. And a lot of niggas, the same reason that people worshipped Trump when he was thought to be the most rich guy in the world, and they worship and think that Kanye is a genius, is because money blinds people to what they're really looking at sometimes, and especially people that don't have access to that lifestyle and shit.
It definitely is.
It's aspirational.
The aspirational admiration of someone that you are aspiring to be like, it blinds people. It is the dumbest thing that people do in this common era. It's ridiculous. You need to look at who the fuck you are and make your decision based on the world that you live in, not in one that you may or may not. The chances of you living Puffy's lifestyle are really low. So judge from your perspective and what you have dealt with in life. And if you judge it from that perspective, it would have been really easy to believe that Cassie was telling the truth.
Well, it'd be easy because my wife and I were talking about this morning, and it's a terrible thing to say, but it's true, and I've said it before in other instances. I don't know a grown woman that has never had to deal with something like that. I don't know a single grown woman that is not one. The very few that I do know that have not been through either the weird uncle at the barbecue, or the teacher that talked too much, or the dude that grabbed her by the back of her neck every time like every single woman, no matter what they look like, no matter what their background, no matter what color they are. I don't know a woman that has not had to live through some incredibly sketchy shit. It's not that hard to believe because nobody that I know knows somebody that has never been through that shit. Like that is just something that you can just assume has happened to every girl, every female, every male of a certain type to some extent that you know.
Nigga, I done had my ass grabbed and squeezed against my will before, and I turned around, couldn't tell who did it. Shit.
Yeah, you're like, nigga, I just work here. But look,
it was by a woman. It was by a woman, goddammit. So shit. If it can happen to me, it should happen. Oh, I think the numbers are just ridiculous. It's like, it's a really high number. It's not 50%. It's not 60. It's like the number of women who have been experienced some degree of assault. It's like most have, you know, on some level. So yeah, it's terrible.
I remember when I was like younger and my friends, there was this ice cream spot at the end of their street, and I didn't like the guy. I was like, no, he's giving bad vibes, and you know, he was overly obsessed with all the girls that were really small, and you know, he let them in the back to do their own ice cream toppings. I'm like, nah, he's shady as fuck, you know.
Yeah.
And they would be like, "You're so negative, Sarah. You're so negative." And then when it came out, dude was a child molester. I was like, okay, it's called instincts. You know what I mean? You're like, who wasn't surprised? Me. Okay. It's like, so listen, what I told you, I was trying to protect y'all, especially the small ones. You know, it's like, God, this guy was a creep, and I could tell.
Yeah, society tells women not to trust their instincts when a bag is sitting in front of them, and that is dumb fucking advice. I hope, if nothing else, when people see what happened to Cassie and you see these women coming forward with, you know, that were abused allegedly by Joe, you know, hopefully they understand that, you know, particularly within entertainment, because I can't really speak for the white side of it, but at this point, it's not even specifically rap. It's like there's a lot of history of that in black music, unfortunately, and it's sad. And again, a lot of times, you know, they say abuse is about power, and the music industry is run by men, and you put men in positions of power, and they have access. Particularly when you have something that somebody else wants and you are the Svengali that is controlling the fucking, you know, you're guiding the ship. Yeah, it's low-hanging fruit for them. It's disgusting.
I mean, we could say that abuse is about power, and it is also very often about lack of power.
Yeah.
So if you're Marvin Gaye and you have this enormous talent that you feel like everybody's sucking out of you and you're not getting what's your right just desserts of it, and you go out and find you a 15 or 16-year-old little light skin and kind of turn her into a sex slave, and we all admire your art, we can be disgusted with you as a human being and admire the art that you created. Those are two different things. I'm not on either side on the cancel, don't cancel thing. I've been lucky in that so far, most of the people we're supposed to cancel are people I didn't ever fuck with. Like, so it's easy for me because I can pretend that I'm really doing it right.
Yeah.
But if they find out, if they start talking shit about some of the stuff that we know Prince probably did, I just have to live with that and feel bad.
It's just like such a weird conversation because just like I think it was yesterday or the day before that something popped up in my feed and it said let's talk about it, and it was all photos of celebrities showing, you know, couples and their ages, and it was all, and you've already named some of them. You know, Prince was in there. Whoever else you had just said was in there. But it was a lot. It was mainly men, older men with younger women, but they also had, you know, women as well, like Taylor Swift when she was dating Taylor Lautner, and he was like 17 and she was, I don't know, 21 or something. Like, you know, they had Fergie in there with somebody. So it was very interesting because you're just like, oh, look at you guys gathering them all together and putting them in one post. But yeah, it's kind of fucked up. And I mean, obviously you have different age ranges and stuff. And a lot of it, it's like if they just waited a few years, no one would have said anything, but they couldn't wait.
Yeah.
You know, of course they got Elvis in there, Priscilla.
But
you know,
I think because what would have happened is if they would have waited, it would have been, it's the same as that quote that I just misquoted earlier. It's like, it wouldn't have been the same person. It wouldn't have been that same incredibly manipulatable, exploitable young girl or young guy who just sees the money you have and nothing else really, you know what I mean? It wouldn't have been
the
that person any
appeal.
longer.
The appeal is it. Yeah.
I think Wilmer, Vladimir, whatever.
Wilmer Valderrama.
Yeah, thank you. He was in there like at least twice. Like
because he had Mandy Moore.
Mandy Moore, yep.
And I think he was Lindsay Lohan. I think he might have dated Lindsay Lohan. He got at least two, yeah.
He was up in that thing more than once. I was like,
he was on Howard Stern talking about how he likes him young. Howard Stern was joking about it and shit.
Man, I think that sometimes it's I won't call them a victim, but the person that's had to deal with it on the other end. Sometimes who it is that's been abused tends to also give us a harder thing. So like when we first read about R. Kelly and Aaliyah,
they were in
Vibe.
They were in the thing.
In Vibe, which is a long, long time ago, something just struck me where that put me off of that nigga then. That was long before we find out that's just who he was. That was an incident, but just the way that he like took her away from her parents when they weren't down with it, and then did the marriage thing, and then they had to go after him legally to make him relinquish their daughter. Like, I feel like that put me off of him then, but it's not because it's Aaliyah, but it's like when you then read about, and it's so sad, and I'm not okay in it. If it had been all these young random girls that he picked up around Chicago and the Midwest that nobody knew about, as long as Chris Brown was just beating on and fucking with young, I'm pretty for a living Instagram models, and none of them were Rihanna, niggas was probably never really gonna say, well, she chasing that money, so that's where she's at.
They were the same when we had video proof of him pissing on the underage girl. Do you know how many women from Chicago told me these girls be fast? He ain't have to coerce her into it. These girls are fast as fuck. And I'm trying to explain. These are black women saying this to me. I'm like, I saw this video and I'm disgusted about what you're saying. What you mean? I'm like, I don't give a fuck what a 14-year-old is offering. You don't take it. That's disgusting. You don't do it. And it's exactly what you're saying. That 14-year-old girl was not Aaliyah. She's disposable. And it's like, that's disgusting to me. Like, come on. Again, protect young black girls.
She's disposable in the context of our general worship of money and fame.
Yeah.
And I won't say it's only black folks, because it ain't, because Woody has proven that it ain't only black folks.
Yeah.
Wilmer Mario's
co-star from his show. Weren't they on the same show? My man is in jail for rape right now. The Danny Masterson, weren't they on the same show?
Yeah. The Scientologist. So
it crosses across the lines, but we all know, and we can say it because it's a safe space for us to say this, that like with us, it seems to be even more pointed, and it goes back like so many other things to the fact that for a nigga to make achievements on the level that people like Kanye and R. Kelly and them have feels like magic dust to us.
Yeah.
So
Jerry Seinfeld. Sorry. Yeah, don't forget about Jerry Seinfeld, that fucking 17-year-old. He was 38.
Never.
This was the most thorough compilation of pedophiles. Every single person that you in the comments have mentioned, they were all in this post. Jerry Seinfeld was there with his 17-year-old girlfriend. They were all in it. Every single one you guys have said has been in it.
Yeah.
The Woody one is like the creepiest because all the other ones they have them, but with the Woody one they had they used the photo of her sitting on his lap when she's a kid at a basketball game. So they really went there for the creepiest one for Woody, like the creepiest. Yeah.
Razor, thank you for your side note. That was sweet. We gonna get off this topic because it's depressing.
Next topic. This is
sorry,
I can't say it's gonna be positive. Whatever's coming next, but it's something different.
Let's see. We gonna talk about Eddie Murphy
like on the game show. I'm gonna skip like the game show where he says what it is. We're like next. Skip that one next.
I'm gonna skip over one because the next one was gonna be about Drake, but we might do that one next week on the next episode. So did either of you get to watch the trailer for the new Beverly Hills Cop movie?
Yeah.
What did you think?
I mean, it reminds me of the old ones. They just be like doing the same shit. Yeah.
Eddie looked good though. No, go ahead, Jason.
For Beverly Hills Cop, you said?
Yeah, the new Beverly Hills Cop is called. You know what? They had 1, 2, 3. Most people aren't aware that there was a third one, by the way, but there was. But this one is called, they're not calling it 4, it's called Beverly Hills Cop Axel F.
I know he bought a lot of very expensive clothes for this one. Thank God. Because there was post-strike. Niggas was like, my man, somebody got to come in. I didn't see that, and I didn't see the Bad Boys one, which I heard looked atrocious.
It looks
But
so
somebody
bad.
made a comment today about how good of an actor Eddie is.
Yeah, I think Eddie's a really good actor, in my opinion.
I mean, I would say more than this. Imagine if all of those people he played at that table as the Crumps or whatever they were.
Yeah.
Imagine if he had been doing dramatic acting instead of comedic acting and turning into all those different people in one scene and interacting with himself like that. The dude could be a genius actor, you know?
Yeah.
Because he was whole different people.
Yeah, he's pretty amazing. And I mean, even when he was in Dreamgirls, he played a completely different it wasn't something we were used to seeing come out of him. But it was just funny to me because both the Bad Boys Ride or Die trailer, which again, I must emphasize, atrocious. If I watch that movie, it's gonna be literally to make fun of it and bring it back to y'all. But I need the Beijing abuse to stop. The amount of Beijing that is on these niggas' heads in both of these trailers. Jason, do you know what Beijing is?
Is that the stuff they use to fill in these things?
Yes.
Yeah.
And as good as Eddie looks, every time the camera showed like his profile, he moved his head, it's like your entire hairline is drawn on. And the same thing was with Will and Martin Lawrence. It just looks so unnatural because the original perpetrator was probably Steve Harvey because he would wear the hair unit and then he would use the Beijing to make the hairline blend in with it. But Mace used to wear a lot of it when he was hot, when he was rapping with the what would we call him? I don't want to say diddler. We gotta come up with a new word for Puffy. But so much Beijing, it's out of control. These niggas coloring their heads in. It didn't look bad though. The trailer didn't look bad.
Ain't nobody got shit on Jermaine Jackson though. Nobody.
Oh God, yeah.
This nigga got. He's like, nigga, it's a fade. It's a curl. It's a helmet. It's
and it looked like
is that a shag?
Y'all know that brown protein gel that girls used to use so that they wouldn't get the flyaways.
The thicker one.
It looked like every time he would leave the house, he would use a whole bottle of that to sculpt his hair into, like, I'm trying to think.
But then never wash it out. Just the next time, just put some more on the top, like shellac.
Shellac, crusty. Oh.
No.
Oh,
I just know that the grandmother from the Nutty Professor just lives rent free in my rent free in my head, like eating the peas, and she's, and by the time it gets to her mouth, there's like nothing left on the spoon. Like every time I'm eating and I'm a little like tired, a little uneasy, I feel like I'm that grandmother and the Nutty Professor, and I'm trying so hard just to get like one pea up to my mouth, and then you're just shaking the whole way. Like you're like, come on, just one pea. That's me eating jet lagged. It's trying to just get one pea to make it up there,
What doesn't look funny?
Karen says it doesn't look funny at all.
Is she talking about Beverly Hills Cop or about?
I'm pretty sure she's talking about Beverly Hills Cop. Yeah,
Beverly Hills Cop.
Yeah, but I guess the one thing I just want to emphasize, Eddie looks amazing. He looks so fucking zen. Like
Hakeem.
Yeah, I remember one time they asked him. Oh, because I heard that sequel was not good.
The Coming to America too. Yeah, I heard it wasn't either.
That one wasn't good.
I don't even know if I've still seen it, to be honest, because I didn't hear great things. And
I do need to watch it because I think Leslie Jones is in there, and I like Leslie, so I need to check that out.
I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes these days, it's like if it wasn't on the plane as an option to watch, I may not have gotten around to it. That's where I see a lot of movies these days. It's like.
I'm not gonna say what I said the first time y'all brought this movie up when it was new, because y'all tried to kick me off the show, and I don't know if I'll get to come back on as a host.
Which one?
But I didn't see the first one. I didn't see Coming to America. I didn't see it.
Well, that's right. We gotta kick you off.
Wait.
Yeah, now you tried to kick me off then.
Wait, you still?
We're gonna do it again.
Now look. You have never seen Coming to America?
Nah, man.
Oh,
No.
nigga,
We're
we
gonna
might
do it
have to.
again.
We might have to have a screening at me, you, and Crescent, and a
do it
couple
again.
people. We might have to do a screening. Oh no, Beverly, I've been mentioning. You know what? It's funny. It's funny you say that because I haven't mentioned it in a while. I'm trying to think who. Man, it was somebody. Oh, it got to a point where it's like on network television. If you're a black male and you got like a short Caesar cut, it don't even matter if you got a good hairline. They're going to add the Beijing to emphasize it. And I'm like, because y'all know I love me some Sterling K. Brown. I saw him on an episode of nigga, no, you didn't say Wave Nouveau.
Yeah, he did.
He took it back to 1990. Like,
ooh, not Wave Nouveau. Oh my God.
Lord.
Oh Lord. Okay.
I think Eddie Murphy. I think one of the things that I like about Eddie is looking at his family Christmas pictures every year. This
and the 93
like,
fucking kids on it.
I'm running on the I did it ticket, nigga. This is what I did.
Yeah.
He got everybody in there except the Polynesian from the magazine stand, but everybody else is in the picture.
Well, I think, I think he's an example of a black celebrity that has successfully created his own bubble. And cause he don't fuck with nobody. Like, I saw Eddie in an interview, and if y'all seen it in the chat, y'all I'm trying to think of a symbol to put up. I guess put up a chicken wing, a chicken or something in the chat if you've seen it. But Eddie was being interviewed and somebody said, hey, you live in LA, right? And he's like, yeah. And they were like, what you think about Rick Ross and these wing stops he buying up? And Eddie said, what's a wing stop? And the interviewer was like, you don't know what wing stop is? He's like, never heard of it. What's a wing stop? And I remember in the comments, niggas was like, that is the upper echelon of celebrity that I need to fucking aspire to.
Right.
Is not knowing about anything that normal niggas are out here doing. Because I got enough money to insulate myself from it.
Here's a different take. Maybe he's so nigga that he ain't eating chicken out the house because his mama is making him fried chicken using like newspaper and shit. You know what I mean?
That's possible.
It could just go the opposite direction. He ain't fucking with Wingstop. He frying chicken at home.
I guess.
He chicken at home.
His new wife. Now I ain't saying white people can't cook chicken because that racist lady down south, I would eat the fuck out of her chicken. What's her name? The one that was calling us niggas in her restaurant. What's her name? Paula Dean. I will eat. Look, even after she done called us niggas, I will eat some Paula Dean food. That bitch could cook.
He might have like a personal chef making him chicken. He's not going to Wingstop, you know?
Yeah. I was about to say something derogatory, but I was like, yeah, because his wife is white. But like I said, just his wife white don't mean she can't cook chicken.
He got a black chef making him chicken. He ain't going to Wingstop, you know? He got home chefs and shit.
I don't know. Eddie's I don't know a lot of celebrity people that closely. The few that I know by and far are the ones that they live in LA. You don't never see them unless you know them. You don't see you don't see them in front of no parties. They're not at the hot restaurant. They're not, you know what I mean? Like,
because they don't care about they don't care. Eddie's not a celebrity that cares about being seen. He knows his talent. We love him for his talent and the other shit. We do be nosy, you know. We they won't let him forget about the transvestite. You know, the one that he got caught with.
Won't let him forget.
Yeah, who also died not too long afterwards. It was weird. Tony. Tony, it's funny you mentioned you wanted him to do one more stand-up. This nigga just announced he's gonna do another stand-up. He's gonna do stand-up again. Yeah, he just saw an article 2 days ago on it. So yeah, he planning on doing it.
If you go back today, many, many years later, and listen to his first or second album,
Delirious or Comedian, Delirious and Comedian were hilarious.
Hilarious.
Like you will laugh at that shit. Some of it, like, you have not heard it before. He's that
boogie in your butt. Boogie in your butt. But the boogie in your butt.
Put a quarter.
But the boogie in your butt.
Let me do a tickle. We didn't, and that was before we knew he liked magazines. So that was a whole different.
Okay, we go.
That's more exciting than Beverly Hills Cop. Next.
What do we got?
So let's see. I was trying to do one of the sports analogies. There's a flag on the play. So we didn't really talk about this because I've been trying to keep it lighthearted and staying out of most of the politics while Crescent is away. But when you keep poking the fucking bear, we got to talk about it. So not only did he fly the fucking flag upside down and then snitched on his wife, threw her ass under the bus, I don't know if we got confirmation that story is even true. Has that been vetted? Are we sure that that's what happened? So Justice Alito in 2021, 2021, they have a photograph of an upside down American flag flying on his property. And that is something that's something that people who are in solidarity with the election being stolen would do symbolically. And then when he was taking the task for it, he basically was like, I ain't got nothing to do with that. That was a squabble my wife had with a neighbor that had some anti-Trump shit on her lawn, and they were going back and forth or whatever. And so...
Well, that was about the other flag, I think, though.
The what?
I think I'm mixing the things together. I think that was about the appeal to heaven flag. That was the squabble with the neighbor shit.
Oh, well, at any rate, the appeal to heaven one, that's the one that came out second, as far as I saw. The appeal to heaven one, there's another flag now the appeal to heaven one was photographed in 2023, which means this nigga ain't learned his lesson. He just does whatever the fuck he wants to do, even though it gives an air of impropriety when you're supposed to be impartial as a fucking Supreme Court justice. But the appeal to heaven flag, it goes back to the American Revolution. It basically was a fuck you to the Brits. And what it means is when somebody is infringing on your rights to life, love, and happiness on earth, you have the right to appeal to heaven. So it's become a symbol for like Christian nationalism, but it also falls in the same category with all that other shit. And they have a picture of it being flown next to his house in 2023. That was last year. So the Democrats are like, yeah, you need to recuse yourself from these cases involving Donald Trump because you are not impartial. And Republicans, even a couple Republicans like Lady G is saying, yeah, this shit don't look good. So it ain't just, Democrats holding him to task for it. So any thoughts on this?
I think first of all, flying any flag from "Don't Tread on Me" to "Appeal to Heaven" or whatever, talking about life and liberty while owning and fucking slave children is a weird flex.
Ain't it?
But on top of that, I'm like, well, man, and I wrote this today because I saw the story underneath it and him saying, it wasn't me, it was my wife, and I'm like, bro, you sit up there for the past year plus voting against women's rights to their very own uterus. I will not believe that your Christian nationalist, I'm the man of the house, I'm in charge of women's everything, would let that woman, ain't no woman unfurling and flying shit on your property, your flags on your property without your say-so and cosign. Stop lying.
Yeah, that's the thing that's wild about it. Like, when you saying, they ain't got nothing to do with me, that was my wife, it's like, you a fucking Supreme Court justice. I will say this. If there was ever a time when a man gets to fucking yell at a woman, it is when you are Supreme Court justice and your wife is trying to fly a fucking American flag upside down. Yes, you cuss your fucking wife out and tell her to try that shit again. I mean, come on. Like, what the fuck? I will divorce you. You fucking with my money.
It's a mess. It's
and
just
my
like
legacy.
Yeah.
No attempt to even pretend to be impartial. It's just gross.
Yeah, that was the thing.
And I, it's hard to keep them straight. It's like two different houses. I got like 30 houses and shit. But I remember because it was a fight with a neighbor. So it was like her trying to, fix things by flying the appeal to heaven flag. And it was just like, no. And what's your excuse for flying the upside down? Like, it's like, and then they want to be on cases that directly impact the shit while they're flying flags that show partiality to one side. And it's like, how is this where we are with things? Like, I was trying to find somebody in Europe to take me in. There was a waiter one night. We were fighting over whether he was French or Italian. So I'm like, no, he seemed French. And he looked Italian to me. I think maybe it was an Italian restaurant in France. And then we were like, look, we need to know. And he was like, I'm Greek. And it was like, so then I said thank you to him in Greek. I'm like, look, I have like 3 Greek words I know because I'm trying to have a place to go. If things go a certain way, like I need somebody to. So he told me he would shelter me, he'd take me in. Because he was very interested. He was asking me all kinds of Trumpian questions, whatever. And he told me, if things don't go good, like he got me, he's going to take me in. And I feel like I still won because he said he was part Canadian. I'm like French Canadian. So like I still won with France over, there's no Italian in any of it. But I'm just trying to find a home if I need to find one.
Yeah, this shit is wild.
This might not work out here.
Well, it ain't looking good.
It's okay, Beverly. I knew what you meant.
What are you doing? We're on the show.
Nah, Beverly, one of the cool things about high levels of reading comprehension is the ability to read through mistakes.
Yes. Well, that's why, like, and they you ever see those sentences where they remove all the vowels and you still can read the whole sentence?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, we always know. We know each other well enough. We know what you meant. We almost done. Let's see here. So this one isn't that big of a deal, but
next topic.
Yeah, have y'all seen these photos of Busta Rhymes?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because you sent it to me.
Yeah, he's looking. So this is what he looks like right now. And I don't know if you could tell, but his head is long and skinny. Now, that's what he normally looks like. Like this, you see how kind of bloated his face is there? He normally has a naturally bloated face. And so there are these accusations of, well, that's Chadwick. That's what people are saying. Don't make assumptions he could be sick. But like, he looks like a completely different person. Not a different person, but he looks like he lost. He looks like he lost a lot of weight really quickly.
He looked like he might be running the Ozempic Olympics, but he also looks exactly like he looked when we met him.
Yes, that's what's weird. He looks like when he was in Leaders of the New School. That's what he looks like.
He looks like that, yeah.
It's crazy that
what's crazy is that they found him in the same shirt. I'm like, did they do an AI or, because it was the same shirt. I was like, did they Photoshop that or?
No,
that's what got me the most.
Both they were taken at the same location. He just took them. One was on.
No, the photos you showed, one is of him at a certain weight in the shirt, and one of him at the reduced weight in the same shirt. And I'm like, how did they manage to get him in the same shirt?
That might be his favorite. That might be his favorite going outside outfit.
Yeah,
because it looked like the same jean suit to me.
Sarah, okay, so
I'm very observant.
Yeah, you are a fucking lawyer because I didn't even catch that. That's why I didn't know what you was talking about. Wow.
Yeah. I was like,
with the cut, which looked like,
I was like,
little
did he have that in a
something?
certain size, multiple sizes? Like, what's
up? He must own multiple. He has 2 of those shirts because ain't no way the skinny one could wear the one Fat Busta had on.
I'm saying, I was like, why is that the same? Because like that's not like a black T-shirt. That's like a stonewashed denim, like frayed long sleeve. It's very specific. The shirt.
Well, and they're also claiming in this article that the image of him where he was bigger. They said that's just a few weeks before the skinny one was taken. I didn't know Ozempic worked that fast.
The cat is doing zoomies. I need her to calm down.
Okay. At any rate, I just wanted to point that out, y'all. I hope Busta is okay.
That was what got me the most, was like, why is the shirt the same? I was like, wait a minute. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think, like they said, we don't know what's going on. We don't want to Chadwick Boseman him.
No.
He, first of all, they said it was an intentional thing. He was over 300 pounds. He was trying to lose weight. When they said he had polyps on his throat or whatever, if you're in the industry of singing and you find out that, you got to take care of that. You know what I mean? So it's like, even if he is on Ozempic was meant for diabetics originally before it became a weight loss drug. So even if it was Ozempic, it might have been prescribed from his doctor as a real needed thing, so he doesn't end up with diabetes if he's over 300 pounds and getting polyps on his throat from being over. I mean, what kind of, you gotta be at a different level of overweight if you're starting to get polyps in your throat or whatever, in your vocal cords or whatever. So I feel like if you're like, oh, I don't want to just completely give up on my lifelong career, you got to do something to take care of that so that you can continue to be able to rap and sing and all these things. So
well,
I want to say good for him. I hope I hope it's all good health and not bad health. And either way, it's really not any of our business. And I hope that, I hope the best for him. And yeah, it's not Italy, Karen. The guy wasn't from Italy. So this is like, there's a lot of stuff. None of them are Italy. So
and Beverly, yes, Busta that was Beijing. It's so like easy to place at this point. But here's the thing that was confused about the Busta Rhymes thing. It's almost like, and I hate to, but this is true. For about 7 years, every time I saw Jill Scott on a magazine cover, they were like, Jill Scott lost a bunch of weight. Look at her great new pictures. And I'm like, I feel like Jill lost the weight she wanted like 6 years ago. And I'm speaking from when I saw these images. And it was like every time I saw an article, it was talking about her losing weight. And then I would see her perform, and I'm like, yeah, she the same size as she was when she lost the weight initially. So I think the weird thing about Busta is Busta was going around talking to different news outlets probably right before the pandemic or right after the pandemic, talking about how he had been on a weight loss journey and he was posting pics. Now, he looked like he was a healthy size. He didn't look like he had, what he did was he lost the gut and he looked like he had put on some muscle. So he just looked healthy.
Toned up.
So I'm like, okay. So then when I saw this, and then I started seeing these articles saying, oh yeah, he lost 100 pounds. I'm like, I thought he already lost the weight he wanted to lose. So that's the only thing that confused me about this. So I guess this is a secondary weight loss journey that he's on. This is giving me Ozempic, but like you said, Sarah, we don't know. I don't want to, make assumptions.
Yeah, we don't know. And, sometimes people just hit a certain age and all of a sudden everything just starts sinking to their ankles. Like, you just don't know.
Yeah.
So it's like, we see what happens, hopefully he's not, okay. Gonna like announce some Chadwick shit or anything soon. I hope he's good.
Yeah.
And, he try not to bust out of his pants. He try not to bust a seam. You want to bust a rhyme, not bust a seam.
Yeah.
I feel you, Busta.
Well, this is our last topic for the night. I wanted to keep it light, but white people.
White people showed up. That's my favorite.
Yeah. So this pizza delivery guy, he's 18 years old, Tennessee. He goes to deliver a pizza. Like, he out here, he working. He ain't selling drugs. He ain't beating up on girls. He ain't stealing cars. He, working on the American dream. He out here putting in work. And delivering pizzas is not easy work. So he pulls into the driveway of where he thinks he's supposed to be delivering the pizza. Mm-hmm. And he sees someone in the home next door waving him down. Basically letting him know, no, it's not that house, it's this one. So he had already parked his vehicle in the driveway of the first house that he thought the delivery was supposed to go to. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, he just went next door and delivered the pizza. This couldn't have taken more than a minute. He comes back over to get in his car, and the owner of the home where he parked in the wrong driveway opened fire on him. And by the grace of God, he was not killed. And so he got in his vehicle and got away. And, you know, in the craziest, you know, turn of events, the guy who tried to murder this young black man, he is up against, I think he's been charged. He got charged a week later.
Okay.
His name is Ryan Babcock, 32 years old. A grand jury handed down new charges, including attempted second-degree murder, aggravated assault, and 3 counts of reckless endangerment and vandalism. And he fired 7 shots. It was a Domino's pizza employee. His name is Caden Wheeler. This happened on April 29th. He's a high school student. He's 18 years old, so he got to be a senior in high school.
It's terrible, but it would have been another fucking tragedy, because what's going to happen is they're in Tennessee. I feel like we're back to the point where they're going to start just letting people we had a highlight of where they stopped letting people just get away with shit.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like if they're flying flags and shit, we talk about the same stuff like on this show, where it feels like they slowly but surely just be putting more and more shit on top of the table and watching us not really do anything about it.
Yeah.
And it'd be like, oh, okay, so, you know, so we might be back at Trayvon status.
Yeah.
Because how often can we do a George Floyd? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, and yeah, to be clear, I left out important details. Yes, the pizza delivery, I'm going to say the pizza delivery teen, because he's still a fucking teenager. The pizza delivery teen was black and the shooter was white. So you win a prize, Chavez.
Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of issues here, because it's like, you read the article, he's not just suing the homeowner for shooting him. He also has a suit against Domino's because A, he's not even a normal delivery driver, so he was helping out because they were short-staffed. B,
so he works in the shop.
they didn't. Yeah, he works at the Domino's, and maybe he's supposed to make pizzas or work at the counter, but he's not a normal delivery driver. B, they didn't have the normal Domino's, you know, signage on top of the car, clearly identifying it as a pizza delivery vehicle. So they sent him out in an unmarked like van, his normal car, and he parked in this guy's driveway. So he's not only suing the homeowner, because regardless, the homeowner's actions are crazy, but he's also suing Domino's because, like, yo, you guys kind of also set him up, especially being in Tennessee. And then after this happened, Domino's then put out a thing saying, oh, it's a requirement that all delivery vehicles have the sign. And it's like, well, happy you guys put that out, but unfortunately you know, sent this guy to like nearly be like executed by some crazy white guy before you decided that was actually something that you should prioritize. So it's definitely super problematic. And like, this is, by the way, why, you know, when my brother was, you know, in South Carolina during part of COVID and going on walks with his, you know, girlfriend, and, you know, sometimes I'm not saying she's lazy or anything, it's something like that, but it's more that she'd be distracted. So she might be on her phone or something. So she would be walking slow, and he would start to do like laps in people's driveway for her to catch up. And I'm like, no, you're black. Please don't be just walking in random white people's driveways in the South.
No.
Because that's how you end up getting shot up. So yeah, I'm going to need you to not do that, you know, wait for her in the street or whatever. Tell her to get off her phone, focus on walking, but definitely don't have your black ass just doing little walking laps in people's driveways and vestibules while you wait for her to catch up, because that's literally how people get shot. Black
and you
people.
just shooting at niggas and just don't ask no questions. Just say, hey, what are you doing here? You just open fire on teenagers? Like, and that shit is...
Yes. Because even if he didn't have the stuff on the car, he was wearing his Domino's uniform and he was holding the big ass Domino's pizza. You know how they have those bags now that are like aluminum on the inside? They're like heat packs.
Yeah.
So he's holding a gigantic, like, keep your pizza hot Domino's bag thing, and he's got on a Domino's uniform. And it's like, I don't think parking in the wrong driveway is really like worth shooting somebody.
It's not.
You know, I don't think that calls to that response, you know?
But isn't it a damn shame that we literally live in an entirely different world than the white people that live next to us? Like, I assure you, white folks ain't thinking shit about not walking in your driveway. Nigga, they will go up and sit on your porch to tie their shoe. They'll literally sit on your car while you're in it, like ain't shit popping. And not to be disrespectful, they just don't have. It's like, I think I was telling you, Antoine, on the show one time that I wanted to start a damn show about white people. It was like a wild animal thing, like the white man having no natural predators. Just the other way around. Look at how he walks 2 feet behind these reverse lights. No thought at all that the truck is actually backing up. Like, they live in a world where shit
Watch
never
him as
happens.
he reaches into his pocket, his concealed pocket in front of the officer, just feet away.
Yeah. Like, the officers asked him for his ID, so he's been like, "Fuck you," and walked away. The fucking.
It's terrible.
I don't know. I'm not blaming them. I'm just it's disheartening.
It's two different worlds.
For people to not know, or even worse, to know and pretend that they don't know, that we absolutely still live hundreds of years later in an entirely different world while sharing the same space with you, it's fucking untenable, man. It can't, you know what I mean? It can't go on.
Well, and especially when you have this demographic of people who have been activated and empowered by the previous administration, because there was some degree of, well, shit, I'm racist, but shit, I can't go screaming from the fucking mountaintops because the nigger is president. We had a system of checks and balances before. That shit is gone. They just doing whatever the fuck they want to do. They look when they out here stealing white bitches' voices against their will, they ain't even respecting white women. Yeah. You know it's going down. No, bitch, your voice belongs to me. It's mine. It's like, what the fuck?
Ursula and them fits, you know? Jason, like, I'll have to pull up the exact quote sometime. I'm not going to do it now, but this is literally like me, sophomore year of college, I think it was. And I put a quote from my anthropology book on my door. You know, you had the dry erase boards. I'm old. And I put a quote from my anthropology book, and it was something about how, like, white people don't have to be cognizant of their race, and that they don't have to think about their race in every interaction, blah, blah, blah. And the people on my floor just did the whitest shit ever. The way they responded to it. It was like emergency floor meeting. Like, I was like the Black Panther. Like, it was like, y'all are literally making the whole fucking point of the quote. But, like, they acted like I literally got it from, like, my, Black Panther notebooks from the secret meetings. I'm like, if you're interested, it's Anthro 106. This is my professor. You can just sign up for the class. It's from one of our college textbooks here. But it's like, look at having the whitest response to a quote about your lack of cognizance of your privilege of being white. Yeah. And your response is like, we need an emergency floor meeting to address this ninja over here daring to call our whiteness to the floor. It was like, wow.
Yeah, I mean, so you know, like, with, like, talking about Justice Alito's and his wife and their flag, right? Mm-hmm. And whatever the excuse, and it wasn't the reason, she put the reasons because she believes in it. Because, you know, just having an argument with your neighbor doesn't buy that flag and get it to your house and unfurl that shit and fly it on a pole.
Right.
Like, most regular people, unless they're afraid that they're going to get lost and not remember where they live, don't even have a flag pole. Like, you might have like a little thing on your front porch or whatever if you're just semi-racist. Yeah. But I'm like, is it like Michael whatever from Seinfeld has been explaining on his tour and in his new book about how he was just so enraged, right?
Right.
But whatever your reason for nigger with the heart are 6 or 7 times, whatever your anger and you lost control of yourself, your quiver was full of nigger. You had it there. It was caught
It was right here on your. It was.
Mouth.
Yeah.
Never have I been angry enough to yell out the K word for Jewish people.
Never.
There's nothing.
Nope.
It's never dawned on me to have somebody.
Or the S word for Spanish or Latinos. Nope.
Have one of these homeless people I see in the mornings on the corner of Santa Monica and La Brea at my bus stop. One of them threw a whole loaf of bread at me dead in my face from only a foot and a half away. I didn't come with some derogatory word for dealing with their sexuality or how they were dressed. I was like, nigga, and I don't think they was black at all. But the fuck, you know what I mean? But it's like
there are rules of engagement. Yeah, it's rules of engagement.
All these things have taught them over hundreds of years that they are able to do things and get away with things without cause or consequence. And that time, sadly, whether we like it or not, is on its way back if we don't fucking do something. And voting may not be enough. Like, I remember when they started moving into the neighborhood, it was like, cool, y'all moved to the neighborhood. Good. That my property value goes up. Everything's good.
Right.
But they started moving in the neighborhood like, we shouldn't be in the neighborhood. What the fuck are we doing here?
Yeah.
And I was thinking to myself, because I'm a horrible person, I'm like, you know what? I liked it better when y'all were scared of us. Because that was the only respect that you ever gave us. The only respect you've ever given us is a healthy fear that's now dissipated to where you feel like you can just say anything and it won't nobody. I'm like, why don't we let some random slappings happen? You want to live on fucking Hauser and Olympic, nigga? I'm just going to slap you for walking to 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
It's just what it is. It's a toll. Yeah. It's a cost. I don't know, man. It's frightening, man, for those of us that do have kids that we have to leave here, man. I say it every episode because it's true. Like, we got like a gang of too many. No, she's like, hear me. Too many motherfucking kids. There's a lot of them.
On a positive note, it's Memorial Day weekend, I think. So some people might have a holiday. Riblet wanted to say goodbye to everybody.
Yeah, hey,
all right, Riblet. Night, Brights.
Yeah, thank y'all. Column had to go, so it looks like Karen did too. Thanks for watching. We'll be back on Monday. I don't know who's gonna be here Monday. It might be these niggas. I don't know. I gotta look at the schedule. But yeah, really appreciate y'all tuning in. Like and subscribe, and we will see you on Monday. Thanks again.
Have a great weekend, everybody.